Hello everyone, good morning. I will simply have a review of the things that we discussed last time, no? So this is simply a quick run through of all the things that are included in our exam. So let's start muna with this. In our previous discussion, I discussed that light behaves as a particle and light also behaves as a wave. That's why we have there a wave particle duality of nature. It simply means that there are times that the light is treated as a particle and there are times that light is treated as a wave. So for example, the solar panels where we take note of all of the photons, which are the particles of the light. Okay. Next is we also discussed last meeting the two types of wave in terms of their nature. We have mechanical wave and the electromagnetic wave. So mechanical waves are waves that can only travel in solid, liquid, and gas, while the electromagnetic wave can travel in solid, liquid, gas, and in vacuum. So light is an example of an electromagnetic wave, while sound is an example of a mechanical wave. Kasi there is no sound if there are no media like walang solid, liquid, and gas. That's why we cannot hear sounds anything in the outer space. We discussed that light is an electromagnetic waves, which are waves that can travel through vacuum. So they are created by the vibrations of the charged particles, and it has a constant speed of 300 million meters per second. Now that's in vacuum of also discuss the parts of a transverse wave kasi 'di ba there are two types of waves in terms of their movement. Yung transverse waves, all of the waves nga ingani siya movement. So transverse wave ang tawag. Pero there are also waves that are called a longitudinal wave. So sound wave is an example of a longitudinal wave while light is an example of a transverse wave. Also kana ganing balud. Sanang balud kanang water wave. That's also an example of a transverse wave. So a transverse wave, meron tayong different parts. Yung highest point niya, we call that as the crest, at saka yung lowest point niya, we call that as the trough. So the distance between one crest to another crest or one trough to another trough is called a wavelength. And the symbol for the wavelength is this one, which is called the lambda. So yun yung wavelength niya. Next, we discuss also the different regions of the electromagnetic spectrum. So when you try to check your textbooks, nakalagay doon what are the uses of all of these regions, starting from the radio wave, the microwave, the infrared, visible light, the ultraviolet, the X-ray, tsaka the gamma ray. So nakalagay din dito sa screen, you can read it. So radio wave and microwave are usually used for broadcasting, for televisions and radio stations. Then basically the radio waves and the microwaves are also the part of the electromagnetic radiation nga active for the like example kanang Wi-Fi or kanang signal sa kana ganing signal sa mga SIM cards. So, nana siya datanan. Then, for the infrared, it transmits heat from sun, fires, and radiators. So, makita siya, like example, summer, tapos tanawon nimo ang atop gali sa atop sa kanang balay nga medyo naa siya something wavy, something nga invisible. So that's an infrared. Also, infrared is also used by the military. Kana ganing na sila special operation, nga na sila special gear, and that gear can see the emitted infrared of kanang living organisms. Then for the visible light, which is our main focus, that is the only region of the electromagnetic spectrum na makita sa ato ang naked eye. Then after that, we also have the ultraviolet, no? The ultraviolet basically is isa sa mga ginalikayan sa katong naay sensitive skin because UV rays are very kusog siya makadaot sa ato ang skin, especially katong mga people nga sensitive sila sa kuan extreme UV. That's why they are required to use sunblock or sunscreens. Then you also have the X-rays. So yung X-ray naman, this is basically used to check the inside part of the body without necessarily cutting it through, no? So you can see there usually ginagamit sa pag check kung naabay ka ng mga nabilin nga mga objects inside the body, no? Sa mga buto-buto and the rest. Then gamma rays is used for chemotherapy and other things, pero usually ang gamma rays gud ang pinaka sila gyud ang gamma rays yun ang pinaka kanang kusog mo penetrate, no? Siya ang pinaka kusog mo penetrate. And take note that we also discussed last meeting that they have the same speed, which is 300 million meters per second. The only difference between all of these regions kay ang ilahang wavelength, no? So ang wavelength niya is lahi-lahi. So for example, from the radio wave, makita ninyo that the wavelength is very very long compared to the gamma rays, that the wavelength, it's short lang ang wavelength. So buot pasabot, they have different frequencies also. So kung inversely proportional man siya. So if the wavelength is longer, like example sa radio wave, ang iyahang frequency is lower ang iyahang frequency. So buot pasabot, natin background music diri no. So buot pasabot ani is mas mo penetrate si gamma rays. It's because mubo siya og kanang wavelength pero taas siya og frequency. Si radio wave pod taas siya og wavelength pero mubo siya og frequency. And in that case, mas mo penetrate si gamma rays compared kang radio wave. Both discuss the reflection of light both in smooth surfaces and in rough surfaces. In smooth surfaces, we call this as the specular reflection, and then in rough surfaces, we call this as diffuse reflection. There also discuss that there is the law of reflection, which states that the angle of incidence is just equal to the angle of reflection. Ibig sabihin, whatever the value of your angle of incidence, the same lang siya sa imong angle of reflection. Okay, object is why do we see objects blue under white light? So we see objects blue under white light because it reflects the blue and absorbs all of the colors. Why do we see objects red under white light? So we see objects red under white light because it reflects the color red and then it absorbs all of the other colors. Buot pasabot, the correct or the correct way of checking the true color of an object is that object should be put under white light. Mao nang ang mga restaurants or kanang mga moadto ka sa palengke, ang ginagamit nila usually is yellowish nga light para fresh tanaw ng ilahang mga baligya, no? Dili white light. Why do we see objects naman green under white light? So we see objects green under white light because it reflects green and it absorbs all of the other colors. We see also objects yellow under white light because it reflects the yellow and all of the other colors are being absorbed. But we see objects white under white light. It's because all of the colors are reflected. Ibig sabihin, kung unsa ray color nga iyang gi-reflect, mao ra nay makita nato, no? So again, blue siya under white light kay gi-reflect niya ang blue, then the other colors are being absorbed. Red siya under white light because red is being reflected and the other colors are being absorbed. But in the case of white light, ang white manggod is in physics is the combination of all the colors. So kung tanan colors gi-reflect sa isa ka object, we perceive it as white. Okay? So baliktad naman no, pag black, we see objects black under white light. It's because we all of the colors are being absorbed. Wala may gi-reflect. So in physics, black is the absence of color. Buot pasabot, kung walay gi-reflect na color, so it appears black. So mo na siya nga black na siya under white light. We also discussed this, a red apple and a green with three green leaves. Under red light is red ang apple niya because it has the ability to reflect the red. While the leaves, it appears blackish, it appears grayish because it has the ability to reflect green. Kaso wa may green nga available, so gi-absorb niya ang red. Okay, now if we are going to put the same object under green light, so ang imo na pong apple, it appears blackish na pud or grayish. It's because the red apple has the ability to reflect red. Kaso wa may red, so gi-absorb niya ang green, 'di ba? Tapos ang leaves kay it has the ability to reflect green man yan na may available nga green. So that's why it appears green under green light. But what if we will put the same apple under blue light? So you can see there that the red apple has the ability to reflect red. Ang problema, wala may red. So gi-absorb niya ang blue. So that's why it appears grayish or blackish. Same with your leaves. The leaves they have the ability to reflect green. Kaso wa may green. So gi-absorb ra niya ang blue. Wala siya gi-reflect. That's why it appears blackish or grayish. So nga nilang yung timailan, I will repeat. We see objects' color depends on the color nga gi-reflect niya under white light. Ibig sabihin, kung naa siya ability to reflect red, red po diyang color. Kung naa siya ability to reflect blue, blue po diyang color because that is the color that is perceived by our brain. Pero kung wala siya gi-reflect na color, it appears black, grayish, or darkish, something on the dark side. Okay?